This is more like it. This is what I expect to see when a major star returns home. Caitlyn Clark returned to Iowa yesterday for the first time since she walked away from professional basketball to join the Pretenders in the WNBA dump. And this is no exaggeration. It looked like the entire state of Iowa shut down. The state of Iowa experienced something yesterday that they have never experienced before. Traffic. Crowds. Thousands and thousands of people were standing outside of the arena hours before the game even started. There were more people standing outside without tickets than people who used their complimentary tickets to see the immaculate return of Angel Reese at LSU on Friday night. This is what the drawing power of a real star looks like. This is the difference I'm always talking about when I explain the difference between a star and a mainstream draw. You know, there are very few mainstream draws nowadays. It feels like the era of celebrity has come to an end. Hollywood celebrities no longer have mass influence. There is no such thing really as A-listers anymore. Celebrity, it's kind of become segregated, and it's not segregated by race. It's damn sure not segregated by the 72 genders. Celebrity has become segregated by niche. Angel Reese is a prime example of this. And I'm talking about Angel Reese Jr. I'm not talking about the original Angel Reese, or as her children prefer to call her, Mama. Angel Reese II. She is extremely popular on social media. When she posts provocative pictures, thousands of lonely dudes give her the validation that she so desperately desires. Ooh, Angel is so pretty. I wonder if she'll reply to my DM and let me take her on a romantic date to Whataburger. If Angel Reese had a lonely man's account, I'm sure thousands of dudes would be willing to pay $5 every month to watch her paint her toenails. My favorite is the big toe. I like the pinky. Angel Reese is also influential in hip-hop culture. She has made cameos and music videos with Cardi B and the young girl who calls herself Lottery or Latto. But the popularity of Angel Reese, it is an illusion, at least in terms of mainstream drawing power, because her popularity on social media, it does not translate to ticket sales. Her popularity doesn't translate to television ratings. The lonely men who are patiently waiting for her next photo, they are not patiently waiting for her next missed layup. And look, this is not a criticism of Angel Reese. There are very few athletes, very few, who possess the ability to drive ticket sales and television ratings. There are very few athletes who have mainstream drawing power. In the history of the WNBA, there's only been one. Somehow, Caitlyn Clark has managed to break through the niche culture of celebrity to become a mainstream draw. You could make the case that Caitlyn Clark is the biggest draw right now in sports. And what happened yesterday in the midst of the cornfields of Iowa proved it. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Let's get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Fluffernoggin. Now you're probably wondering, what the hell is a Fluffernoggin? Fluffernoggin is gourmet beef jerky made right here in America. You don't have to worry about consuming foreign cows that were raised by Mahmoud halfway across the world. These cows are homegrown. You know how most beef jerky is rigid and it feels like you're chewing into a flat tire? Fluffernoggin beef jerky is soft, tender, and it comes in a variety of flavors. They just released their newest flavor, savory garlic butter, which is now my personal favorite. I'm sure that's not surprising because you guys know how much Uncle KC loves his garlic. But if garlic isn't your thing, that's okay. Fluffernoggin is inclusive. They have flavors for everyone. If you're looking for sweet heat, you can go with pineapple serrano or mango habanero. If you're looking to sweat your ass off without having to exercise, you can go with the Carolina Reaper. And if you're more of a traditionalist, You can stick with the original flavor, which literally melts in your mouth. So elevate your snack game today by clicking the link in the description below. Use my promo code BTL55. Receive 5 bags of Fluffernoggin beef jerky for $55 today. Credit where credit is due, and it's not often that I give credit to the WNBA dump. I have never hidden my disdain for pretend basketball. Matter of fact, I am upfront with you guys about my lack of objectivity because I can't stand the WNBA. But credit where credit is due. The marketing department in the WNBA dump, they did a phenomenal job this past weekend. They arranged for both Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese to have homecoming games in their respective college towns in the same weekend. Brilliant marketing strategy. Perhaps the WNBA was hoping that some of the attention generated by Caitlyn Clark would filter down to Angel Reese. If that was the case, they had a double dose of false hope because the return of Caitlyn Clark to Iowa, it completely overshadowed the return of the self-proclaimed Barbie to the Bayou. The average ticket to see the Barbie return to the Bayou, $29. I'm sure that average was brought down significantly by the amount of free tickets that were given away and went unused. If you wanted to see the return of the Great White Hope, the average ticket, $670. $670 for a preseason game. I went to Game 3 of Pelican Thunder last year in the first round of the playoffs. I paid $700 for 2 tickets. A preseason game to see Caitlyn Clark was double the amount of a ticket for the NBA playoffs. These were the most expensive tickets since the WNBA started tracking ticket prices back in 2015. Well, KC, what was the previous record? I'm pretty sure the previous record was 5 pesos for courtside bucket seats for the WNBA Finals. 15,000 people paid to see Caitlyn Clark play for, I think it was less than 20 minutes. And there was not a single fan that left the arena unhappy because it wasn't about the game. The price of tickets had nothing to do with pretend basketball, damn sure had nothing to do with the WNBA. People were willing to pay exorbitant prices to be part of the moment. The average fan traveled 250 miles to be part of the moment. Now, would Uncle Casey pay $700 and drive a combined 8 hours to watch a preseason game of pretend basketball? Absolutely not. I'll be the first to admit, I don't understand the drawing power of Caitlyn Clark. Will I watch her play in the rare event that I have absolutely nothing else to do? Sure. But I don't understand the hysteria. I don't understand paying $700 to watch a meaningless game. But just because I don't understand it, it doesn't mean it's not real. And the drawing power of Caitlyn Clark is real. Let me show you a couple of examples. Let me show you the line outside of the arena 2 hours before tip-off. Also, ESPN interviewed several fans of Caitlyn Clark. ESPN wanted to know why they were so enamored with her. Pay very close attention to the crowd. This is important because fans of Caitlyn Clark, they have never, never given the WNBA a chance. And the reason they have never given the WNBA a chance is because the WNBA has given them every reason not to support the league. Watch for yourself.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlyn?
She's so good at basketball.
Because she's that awesome person and she has like a lot of aura, so like.
I'm sure the mainstream media hates to see this. White people are taking over our beloved dump. Pretend basketball is not for everyone. But if you're the WNBA, and more importantly, if you're the NBA who has wasted hundreds of millions of dollars on this turd and has never seen a return on that investment, unless you consider constant whining and constant complaining and a complete lack of appreciation to be an appropriate return, if you're the NBA, this is exactly what you want to see. You want to see children dedicated to the league. Whether they're fans of Caitlyn Clark or Angel Reese, it really doesn't matter. You want to see kids driving interest, because if the kids are watching, the parents are watching, and those kids will eventually grow up and become adults. If the WNBA is lucky, they'll be taking their kids to watch pretend basketball. You see how that works? That's how you create a generational fan base, which is something that college football and the NFL and even Major League Baseball has excelled at. I know the media wants us to believe that Angel Reese is on the same level as Caitlyn Clark. I know the media wants us to believe that Angel Reese is just as popular, but let me show you the difference between a star, a social media star, and a mainstream draw. One of these clips shows Caitlyn Clark being introduced at Iowa yesterday. The other shows friends and family who gathered to see Angel Reese. Watch for yourself. Unfortunately for Angel Reese, I think this could be just the beginning of her being completely overshadowed. This is just my own personal theory. I could be wrong about this, but I think the mainstream media is going to try and pit Caitlyn Clark and Paige Bueckers against each other, which would be great for the WNBA because they need controversy to survive. They damn sure can't rely on the product on the court to remain relevant. The drama surrounding Caitlyn Clark, it kept the WNBA in the mainstream last summer. I think the mainstream media will try the same strategy this summer, but this time, they are going to use Paige Bueckers. If that ends up happening, where does that leave Angel Reese? Or how would Angel Reese react to it? We all know Angel Reese loves the attention. What happens if Paige Bueckers and Caitlyn Clark are dominating the spotlight? How will other players in the WNBA react? We saw how they reacted last year when it was just one white girl. Now, there's two. The problem, though, WNBA players need Caitlyn Clark for leverage in negotiating a new CBA. They need Caitlyn Clark to increase their minimum wage salaries, which could create another problem for the WNBA. If Caitlyn Clark is finally accepted, where is the controversy going to come from? If everyone suddenly becomes besties, how are they going to generate interest? Over the last few years, one of the biggest complaints in the NBA has been that everyone is friends. There are no rivals. The NBA has a superior product to fall back on. The WNBA, they don't have that same luxury. If Caitlyn Clark is finally accepted, will the product on the court be enough to sustain mainstream relevance? You tell me, which scenario is more likely? The media pitting Caitlyn Clark and Paige Bueckers against each other, which could lead to another summer of drama in the WNBA, or because they need her for leverage, will Caitlyn Clark finally be accepted? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.